Have you ever watched a movie where the hero's journey takes so many unexpected twists that by the end, not even sure who the main character was supposed to be? Welcome to the most bizarre conclusion to a superstar trade in NBA history, where Kevin Durant's departure from Golden State has finally, officially ended with a second-round pick named Javon Small suiting up for the Memphis Grizzlies. This isn't just another draft night footnote. This is a culmination of a 6-year odyssey that involves 6 different teams, countless trades, protected picks, and enough plot twists to make Christopher Nolan jealous. The Kevin Durant era in Golden State has officially closed its books, and the final chapter is absolutely nothing like anyone could have predicted. The era that changed everything. Cast your mind back to July 2016, when Kevin Durant shocked the basketball world by joining the Golden State Warriors. It was the most controversial free agency decision in modern NBA history, transforming the league's competitive landscape overnight. Durant didn't just join a great team. He joined the team that had just beaten him in the playoffs, the team that had won 73 regular season games. The basketball was magnificent. Durant's 3 seasons in Golden State produced 2 championships, 3 finals appearances, and some of the most dominant playoff performances ever witnessed. He averaged 25.8 points on ridiculous efficiency while seamlessly integrating into a system that many thought couldn't accommodate another superstar. But beneath the surface, something was always off. Durant brought his talent to the Warriors, but he never fully brought his heart. The cultural fit was awkward from day one, like watching a world-class violinist try and blend into a jazz ensemble. Both were making beautiful music, but the harmony never felt quite right. The cracks began to show by Durant's final season. The underlying tensions had become impossible to ignore. The infamous November 2018 altercation with Draymond Green wasn't just a heated moment between teammates. It was a public manifestation of deeper issues that had been simmering for years. Green's accusation that Durant was planning to leave anyway hit particularly hard because everyone knew it was probably true. Durant's relationship with the Warriors organization had become transactional. He showed up, dominated games, and helped win championships, but there was always a sense that he was keeping one foot out the door. The Warriors' culture collective ego sublimation clashed with Durant's need for individual validation, creating a dynamic that was successful but never sustainable. The 2019 playoffs became a referendum on Durant's commitment to the franchise. When he suffered a calf injury in the conference semifinals, questions swirled about his dedication to the team's championship aspirations. His decision to return for Game 5 of the finals against Toronto was meant to silence those critics forever. The injury that shattered everything what happened next will haunt Warriors fans for decades. Durant, clearly not fully healthy, played just 12 minutes before suffering a catastrophic Achilles injury that effectively ended his Warriors tenure. The visual of him crumpling to the floor, immediately knowing his season was over, remains one of the most devastating moments in recent sports history. The injury didn't just rob the Warriors of their most dominant player in the most crucial moment. It crystallized all the complicated emotions surrounding Durant's time in Golden State. Was he a hero for trying to play through injury, or was the organization wrong to put him in that position? The debate raged throughout the summer, overshadowing what should have been reflections on 3 incredible seasons. When Klay Thompson also suffered a devastating injury in the same finals, the Warriors' championship window slammed shut with brutal finality. Toronto won their first title, and Golden State was left to contemplate a future without their most talented player. The desperate sign-and trade dance the 2019 offseason forced the Warriors into an impossible position. Durant was leaving for Brooklyn to team up with Kyrie Irving, and Golden State had minimal time to extract value from their departing superstar. The resulting sign-and trade felt like organizational triage, a desperate attempt to salvage something from a relationship that had soured beyond repair. The deal sent Durant and a protected 2020 first-round pick to Brooklyn in exchange for D'Angelo Russell, a move that made little sense from a basketball perspective. Russell was a ball-dominant guard trying to fit into a motion offense built around Stephen Curry, a square peg heading toward a very round hole. The Warriors front office knew Russell probably wouldn't work long-term, but they needed to maintain some semblance of competitive balance while navigating the luxury tax implications of Durant's departure. It was asset management masquerading as roster construction, and everyone involved understood the temporary nature of the arrangement. The Russell experiment and quick pivot D'Angelo Russell's time in Golden State was predictably awkward, despite his individual talent. He never meshed with the Warriors' system or culture. His ball-dominant style disrupted the flow that had made Golden State great, and his defensive limitations exposed the team's lack of depth. But here's where the Warriors' championship DNA showed itself. Rather than stubbornly trying to make Russell work, they quickly recognized a mismatch and pivoted brilliantly. The trade that sent Russell to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins and a first-round pick represented organizational flexibility at its finest. Wiggins became a crucial contributor to the Warriors' 2022 championship run, providing the two-way versatility that Russell could never offer. That first-round pick became Jonathan Kuminga, a promising young talent who represents the team's future. Suddenly, the Russell experiment looked like a masterful piece of asset management rather than a desperate miscalculation. The protected pick's wild journey, the most fascinating aspect of the original Durant trade, was that protected 2020 first-round pick. The Warriors were betting on their ability to remain competitive even without Durant, but injuries and roster upheaval sent them spiraling to their worst season in decades. By retaining the pick, which became James Wiseman, they avoided conveying it to Brooklyn. The trade protection meant that pick would convert to a 2025 second-round selection, a detail that seemed insignificant at the time, but would take on a life of its own. What followed was a journey worthy of its own documentary, as the pick bounced between 6 different teams like a basketball nomad searching for home. The Brooklyn Nets eventually swapped the Warriors' 2025 second with Washington's 32nd pick, while the Wizards later sent Golden State's pick to Memphis as part of the Marcus Smart trade. Each transaction added another layer to an already complex narrative, turning a simple draft asset into a symbol of the modern NBA's interconnected ecosystem. Javon Small. The unlikely final chapter, when the Memphis Grizzlies used a 48 pick on West Virginia guard Javon Small, they unknowingly completed one of the most convoluted trade sagas in NBA history. Small, standing just 6 feet 1 inch, but possessing a defensive intensity and basketball IQ that made him a standout in college, represents everything Kevin Durant was not during his Warriors tenure. While Durant brought transcendent talent but cultural complications, Small embodies the team-first mentality that championship organizations prize. His size limitations are obvious, but his competitive fire and leadership qualities make him exactly the type of player who could carve out a meaningful role in the right system. For Memphis, Small represents depth and energy at the point guard position. His upside as a full-time backup guard might seem modest compared to Durant's superstar status, but his fit within the organization's culture could prove more valuable than raw talent alone. The complete trade tree analysis, looking at the complete Kevin Durant trade tree, reveals a fascinating mix of outcomes. The Warriors received 2 championships, a finals appearance, and years of elite basketball. They also endure cultural disruption, devastating injuries, and years of roster reconstruction. The trade ultimately produced Andrew Wiggins, 2022 championship contributor, Jonathan Kuminga, promising young talent, James Wiseman, valuable learning experience, and now Javon Small, unknown potential in Memphis. It's a portfolio that perfectly encapsulates the Durant era, moments of brilliance offset by persistent complications. Lessons in organizational identity, the conclusion of this saga, offers profound insights into team building and organizational culture. The Warriors learned that talent alone doesn't guarantee harmony, that championships don't erase underlying tensions, and that sometimes the most successful partnerships are also the most fragile. Their subsequent success in 2022, achieved without Durant, but with players who fully embraced their system, validated their approach to team building. The contrast between Durant's individual brilliance and Wiggins' seamless integration highlighted the importance of cultural fit in sustained success. The end of an era, the beginning of understanding as Javon Small begins his NBA journey in Memphis. He carries with him the final genetic code of one of basketball's most complex relationships. The Kevin Durant era in Golden State has reached its official conclusion, not with fanfare or ceremony, but with a second-round pick who embodies the values the Warriors always prioritized. This story reminds us that in professional sports, no relationship is ever simple. No trade is ever finished until every asset finds its destination. And sometimes the most important lessons come from the most unexpected sources. The Warriors' championship in 2022 proved they could win without Durant, but they never could have reached that point without experiencing the complications he brought to their organization. Do you think the Warriors ultimately won this trade, or did the cultural costs outweigh the championships? Drop your thoughts in the comments and smash that like button if you're fascinated by how a single superstar decision can ripple through the league for nearly a decade.